Hello and welcome to the Cluster's introductory video. This week we'll be looking at 1 Samuel chapter 17. Now, Private Eye magazine reports that the ITV football commentator John Helm once described the match like this. Halifax against Spurs, he said, the original David and Goliath confrontation. Now, as old as these teams are and great in their own right, Halifax against Spurs cannot be said to be the original David against Goliath confrontation. Surely that was between, well, David and Goliath themselves. And that's what we're going to be looking at today. Last week we saw how King Saul, rejected as king by God, has been afflicted by an evil spirit sent by God to torment him. As a result, he wants someone to come and soothe his spirit by playing the lyre. Meanwhile, the prophet Samuel has been looking for Saul's successor as king, and he's found him in the small town of Bethlehem, where he's anointed a young lad named David. In one of those extraordinary coincidences, at least it would be if God wasn't involved, the person chosen to soothe Saul's troubled spirit is none other than David himself. Meanwhile, Israel's in serious trouble. The Philistines have returned, but rather than attacking Israel head on and risk losing many men in battle, they have one man, a champion named Goliath, who offers himself for one-on-one combat. Two men fighting it out with a winner-takes-all result. But there's a catch. Goliath is enormous, about 9 foot 9 inches tall, 3 meters. For comparison, Robert Wadlow, the tallest man in modern history, was nearly a foot shorter at only 8 foot 11 inches tall. And he was quite ungainly on the film we have of him. Look him up on YouTube. Can you imagine him fighting a quick-moving Israeli soldier? But Goliath could wear incredibly heavy armour to protect himself and still fight. He scared the living daylights out of Saul and the Israelites. Every day he'd taunt the Israelite armies, ending his challenge by shouting, "This day I defy the armies of Israel. Give me a man and let us fight each other." But Goliath is playing with fire here. For by defying the armies of Israel, Goliath is also defying God himself. And God won't stand to be mocked. And so enters the young shepherd boy David, and his attitude to the threat is entirely different. And it leads to one of the most astonishing victories in the whole of the Bible, and one that is still used as a sporting metaphor today. Well, I hope you have a great cluster discussing God's word and praying for one another. Next week we'll be looking at 1 Samuel chapters 18 and 19 that look at the deteriorating relationship between Saul and David. So until then, goodbye for now.